Boom. According to that, we are live. My name is Hiko Simon. This is Tokyo Tonight. I have not prepared any news topics tonight. I woke up this morning feeling kind of crap. I kind of basically today Sundays are the day that on my marathon training schedule, Tokyo Marathon, 1 month from today, Sunday, March 2. So in that final stretch now. And today was a 3-hour run day. And I've done a couple of these 3-hour runs, and that normally entails running about 36 kilometers. And so I actually had a great event that I went to tonight. It was by McNeil. Oh, I should have even pulled it out. By McNeil has a new book. In fact, I'm going to go grab it out of my bag. I should have got it ready. Give me a sec. Oh, you might remember By McNeil and myself. We go back a little bit. I loved his original book, which I think I've got within arm's reach here somewhere. Loco in Yokohama. There it is. In fact, I've got. Oh, check it out. So, I think the first book was it Loco in Yokohama, or was it Hi, my name is Loco and I'm a racist? We've had him on 2.5 Oyajis. The first book that he wrote, which I'm pretty sure was this one, I loved. He's a gifted writer, and I cried reading the book. I love the writing. I sort of was like, dude, you got to get this like made into a TV show or something. Yeah, it's been 10 years since he's put out a book, but because he's got all the positive attention from those first two books, he's had like some sort of professional sort of editors and publishers help. It's been done in Japanese and English. Boom, words by Bae, art by Mickey. It's basically his story of becoming kind of a settled Japan resident by the sounds of it, and his sort of reflections on his life and his experience with his wife, Mickey. I got a preview of some of the chapter of like a chapter, which I sort of read and I liked, but I was a bit too busy to sort of give him some comments back, which I felt bad about. But he did a book reading and release party today. Actually, if you go onto my Insta, I put up a photo of Bae and Bae signing the book for me. Come think of it, what did he say? To Hiko, thank you for all the support over the years. All the best, Bae McNeil. Boom. So nice note, signed by the man, and can't wait to read the book. It is available on Amazon now. If you go to my Instagram, you can see the book, and it's available in Kindle as well as in paperback. But that was great. Also got to see Rochelle Kopp. She was sitting next to me actually at the event, who you might remember from the show. So yeah, that was pretty awesome. Also, Lara, who's often in the comments, she was there. Yeah, it was kind of cool to see some familiar faces. There's some other people. Tia, have we had Tia on here? She's like a photographer who's really cool. Her husband Rob has been on 2.5 Oyajis. But anyway, yeah, so it was a nice event. But coming back, I went for this 3-hour run this morning, and I would have gone after lunch, but I was going to Bae's event after lunch. So I thought, okay, I've got to do it in the morning. But I wasn't feeling good when I woke up. I had some diarrhea. I thought, well, I'll be fine. So I went to go run for 3 hours, and after 90 minutes, I had to stop. This is a good thing about, also it was freezing cold in Tokyo today. It was going to snow, but it turned out, thank you. Excellent, Aaron. Let me highlight that. It was supposed to snow. It didn't snow, but it was kind of cold enough to snow. So all the cold air, I don't know if there's a cold air or what it was, but I was kind of feeling nauseous. I was sleepy. I came back from running 20 kilometers instead of 36, and I slept until I went out. I've still honestly got a bit of a headache. I've got a 37-degree low level fever. I've been feeling sick. I've actually been fine all day in terms of nothing's come out, but I've been feeling crappy. So I am not going to do the after party tonight, and even the show I'm going to keep short. Honestly, I need to lie down and just recover. I've been running a lot, so maybe this is just my body's way of telling me to take a break. But at the same time, I must admit, I was thinking today that, if Tokyo Marathon Day, if I'm feeling like this on Tokyo Marathon Day, I'm going to be screwed, because I really did hit a wall. I can run 2.5 hours pretty comfortably normally, but I hit 90 minutes today and I was dead. So yeah, That said, I went out for dinner. That was the first food I'd really eaten all day, and it was pretty good. Had some man flu. Yeah, that's definitely what it was. But yeah, other than that, I am good. Tokyo was good. I didn't even turn on the topics, sort of my Twitter until now. Is there anything interesting here? Maybe there is. Hell, let's do some topics. I'm feeling okay. But yeah, I will wrap this up early tonight. Let's say hello to who's in here. I'm going to have some water because I'm a bit parched. But I am going to definitely go to sleep early tonight. DJ Sunny Side Up, glad that you can make it. Represent Kochi. We've got Mage Goes X, great to have you in here. Mr. Cordy Chip in there third. Who else we got? We've got Dan H, great to have you in here as always. Let the games begin, says Raz Al Ghul. First time I've seen you in here in a wee while, so great to see you there. Cobra Stenchi, grabbing coffee. I haven't had time to load your music into my iTunes, but honestly, I felt like crap today, so we'll get to having band-made remix. I can make club tracks and stuff out. I'm actually looking forward to doing that. Shivas from Panama, glad that you're there with your cup of coffee and already put Baya's book into the basket. It's kind of funny. We did a Q&A and I asked him immediately. He said that in an interview that Baya said, you might remember Baya McNeil. He originally sort of grabbed attention in the gaijin sphere, writing a blog about the empty seat that was often next to him on crowded trains where Japanese just didn't feel sort of brave enough to sit next to him, and how much it really, really got to him. And how he imagined having a conversation with this empty seat that refused to fill because he thought everybody hated him. I kind of, that blog got a lot of attention, and I was in the, hey, dude, chill out, don't overthink it crowd. But I must admit, I mean, I still get the empty seat now and again on the crowded train next to me. Like, people just don't want to sit down when they see a foreign person there for whatever reason. And while it doesn't bother me that much, I must admit I still find myself thinking about it. And he mentioned that he's looked back at his previous writings and thought about them. So I asked him, hey, how are you and the empty seat doing? And he's got a chapter on it in here, which I'm kind of looking forward to. But he writes extremely expressively. It's really, really great. So I'm looking forward to that. We've got Robert Brooker in the house. Great to see you, Robert, old dude. Nice to have you in here. Aaron, our wonderful moderator, in here as always. Wow, excellent. I do really, really do appreciate everybody coming in. I'm sorry I'm not 100% tonight, but hey, Lara made it. So like I said, I saw Lara tonight at the Baye event. I got my book, can't wait. So that was pretty awesome. Great to see you. Glad that you made it. And yeah, look, I'll tell you what, I'm actually looking at my topics from the last like 5 or 6 days. And although I did not go through and do my normal looking at Japanese news, cramming topics in at the last moment, I see that there are some things to talk about. So let's do that. But I'm going to do that. I'm going to do a quick walk through the topics that I have, which are not many. And then I will peace out and probably should go to sleep. I've got work tomorrow. I think sleeping is probably the best thing. Although I've been watching on Netflix in Japan, they've had 2 seasons, not every season, just 2 seasons of Below Deck, a reality show where they basically just are on charter, mega yachts with their, with their sort of luxury, mega rich customers and the dysfunctional but extremely good looking crews. And I've been watching it while running, and it does take your mind off the pain just watching, beautiful people trapped in in a small space making terrible life decisions. I've been enjoying that, and probably I shouldn't, but maybe I'll watch another episode of that before I go back to sleep. Aaron's got a recommendation: ginger tea. Real ginger root, about a thumb-size cut into thin slices, boiled for 10 minutes, then with lemon and honey, drink it. I got some Manuka honey from a friend from New Zealand this week, so maybe I'll do that. Drink it, chew, and swallow as much of the ginger as I can. That will fix my tummy. I believe you. That sounds like it would, but I don't think I've got any of the ingredients. Yeah, I'm just going to sleep, and we'll see. But, yeah. DJ Sunny Side Up asking, did I watch Mark Zuckerberg on Joe Rogan? This is like more than a week ago, right? Is this the one where he looked like a Puerto Rican gigolo? I actually, respect to the guy for doing up his image. Oh, pardon me. I did not watch it. I haven't watched Joe Rogan for a while now. It's the same with Lex Friedman. I find in a way that some of the podcasters have gotten a little bit so big that they're sort of up their own asses a little bit when they're talking to people. But yeah, I'll have a look. Yeah, Aaron, good suggestion. Try it tomorrow if I feel off. And I think I can probably find the ingredients to that tomorrow. So that's a good suggestion. I'm hoping this is just a stomach thing. Mixed with cold air, mixed with being overtired, and a good night's sleep will fix it. But yeah, we'll see. Definitely, like DJ Sunnyside Up said, definitely very man-fluey. So yeah, let's pick the Twitter. I wasn't going to go through my Twitter, but you know what? It's not Twitter, actually. It's Blue Sky. But let's check out what we've got here. So let's go into the regular layout. And let's see what we've got. Not a lot of topics anyway, because like I say, I have not curated for today. I really do appreciate the suggestion, by the way. It is pretty much, it's like I'm not throwing up, but I feel nauseous. And I'm not like, I don't have diarrhea, but even at Baya's event, I was like trapped standing in a spot and I was like sweating, cold sweating, thinking that I was going to throw up a couple of times. So I'm not in a good place. So I definitely have a very overheated room. I'm going to turn the humidifier on. I'm going to get a good night's sleep tonight. Yeah, so what have we got in terms of topics, which I haven't tweeted in like 2 days? First of all, with the plane crash in America, because of all of the too much DEI causing plane crashes in America. I'm sure the finding will be appended to the actual air crash investigation with a Sharpie. America voted overwhelmingly for this stuff, so there we go. Apparently, the Mainichi Shimbun has pointed out that it is true in Tokyo there are still a number of U.S. airbase locations and helicopter pads, and U.S. military still has pretty much the run of the skies in Tokyo. They regularly fly at low altitude through crowded skyscraper neighborhoods, and perhaps it's part of their training, perhaps it's just a joyride. There's a big question why those bases around Tokyo, Yokota, and Yokosuka in particular, they were originally bases created to occupy Tokyo, to control Japan. Now that Japan's theoretically supposed to be like America's greatest ally, there is a slight question: why do they need those bases there? I mean, obviously it's convenient since they have them. It's always hard to create land for new bases. But flying around like dicks in those Black Hawk helicopters, yeah, probably. Not necessary. I mean, at least you could do it in a more considerate sort of a way. There again, in Okinawa as well, it's a big issue. So what else have we got here? Malboyne pointing out the main reason that 77% of Japanese schools still use fax machines is they don't have time to discuss not using them. Certainly when my son went to elementary school, we were instructed by the PTA to by the school to buy a fax. Or late for school, the notice would only be accepted if it was sent by fax. Which, come think of it, we used to have to go in with like a doctor's note when I was a kid and deliver it in person or whatever. Even in order to go home, you had to show up at school with the note. So a fax is an improvement on that, but there is a question why you wouldn't either accept email or have some kind of web portal for that sort of thing in this day and age. Some other news which has been getting the rounds. Unrested has been live streaming about this. I haven't watched it, so I don't know if what he's saying is correct or not. But I mentioned the Nakai scandal. The scandal not being that he is, undeserving of being called a talent because he has a terrible personality and cannot sing or dance. But on top of that, he apparently at parties organized by Fuji TV, where he was appearing on a variety show as a guest or whatever. The story that Bunshin, one of the weekly tabloid magazines, had broken was that he had been introduced, and the implication was that the Fuji TV had actually sent women, like I believe, to his hotel or something like that, or it had been a party in an environment where they had told a woman, go and sit in this room and wait, and Nakai shows up naked, and no other details released other than he paid $500,000 to settle any issues. So pretty clearly an assault involving case. And people have been calling, including the shareholders, all advertisers have been withdrawing money from Fuji TV. And a lot of people are talking seriously about Fuji TV going out of business just from the loss of revenue from this. However, Bunshin issued an apology this week saying that the woman was not actually set up by the TV network. It was sort of adjacent, but apparently Nakai had invited the woman himself. So slight oopsie there. on the one hand, it's kind of ironic because on the one hand, I see some journalists in Japan from the FCCJ praising Bunshin, saying these are the only people out there doing any real journalism and breaking stories that everyone in the industry knows about, like Johnny's in general, for example, like BBC did with that. It's only really the tabloids that cover these stories, so credit to Bunshin for doing that. But at the same time, being tabloids, they're also kind of wrong sometimes. And already all the board of Fuji TV has quit, basically, because of this, even though it was a mistake, at least with regards to their role. So, yeah, increasing Japanese singles tend to prefer ready-made options than to cooking. Certainly when I was living single in Tokyo, it's hard being single anywhere. Cooking for one person, you always end up with like days of stuff. I would freeze everything so that, you'd build up a few days and try to have a few different meals, and then you end up rotating 3 or 4 meals for like 2 weeks. And it is the thing with Tokyo. It is honestly just as cheap and way more convenient just to buy a ready-made meal. The only problem being, as you can see by the picture here, a lot of stuff has a lot of sugar, salt, is oily and stuff like that. You can find, you can actually get to find some healthy things. But yeah. DJ Sunny Side Up asking, is Matsumoto ever coming back? Of course, one of the 2 guys from Downtown, the Osaka comedy duo, are kind of accused of similar things. I'm sure he is. Well, the pattern in Japan always is that they sort of go into exile for a year or 6 months or 2 years, and then they're slowly reintroduced to TV. When they've done their time, they're sort of forgiven. The Nakai thing, I didn't even bother covering because it seemed so obvious that was the pattern that it was going to go into. But between Nakai not having the coverage of, a thriving talent agency that he did with Johnny's, and apparently someone quoted somewhere that Nakai was like, he wished that Johnny was still around because he would have gotten much better crisis management over his scandal. But he knows what went on at Johnny's. I mean, for everything, for all literally the, all the child molesting and everything that happened at Johnny's, Nakai, because of his own personal circumstances, still wished that they came back, that they could shut down news stories for his benefit, even with all the stuff going on. Nakai, honestly, this is why I never liked you, dude. So will Matsumoto come back? Normally he would. Matsumoto is from Yoshimoto Kogyo, which is one of the most powerful talent agencies still in Japan, and he is the top headliner for it, so he should have that protection. But there again, there is actually, I would say, of all the many scandals like this that I've seen over my 26 years in Japan, this is going through, I was dismissive that this was going to go through any sort of a new pattern, but maybe it is. Maybe he's really not coming back. And hell, I mean, he's rich enough. And he's like, the other problem I always had with Japanese variety shows was all the shows, all the people who are the main stars on variety shows now in 2024 in Japan are the same people who are the stars of variety shows when I was getting international Japanese video cassettes of Japanese TV shows to watch in New Zealand in 1995. Literally for 30 years, they haven't changed. And all the people who are like in their 20s and 30s, the sort of edgy, catchy, popular new comedians, are now 50, 60, 70 years old, including like Matsumoto's up there. He's probably in his 70s now. And there's no room being made for new talent to come through, and no incentive for new talent to even frankly try. And this is one of the reasons I've stopped watching Japanese TV, because there's just no way in for anything sort of interesting to come through anymore. So I always felt bad about that for people coming through. So honestly, Matsumoto should have retired ages ago anyway to let new talent come through. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Eder, good to see you there in the comments. Apologies to everyone rocking in. Just to update, I feel like crap. I've got kind of an upset stomach and I've had kind of a crappy day just in terms of how I feel. I'm kind of pissed off, but I had no choice. I had to break off my 3-hour run and shorten it to 90 minutes today. So I'm just going to go through the few topics that I have and we'll wrap it up and there'll be no after party. Oh, but good news. It's in the title. I didn't even mention it. This time next week, either at 10 p.m. or 10:30. Actually, we haven't locked down the time yet. I'm going to go with 10:30 for now. Same time. Next week, Victor and I are back 2.5 Oyajis. I don't know if we're going to be doing it on this channel or his channel. So I'll put up a post on YouTube. But for now, let's assume it's here at 10:30 p.m. By popular request, we've been terrible at setting something up, but Victor and I agreed today we're going to do a 2.5 Oyajis next week. So shorter show today, but kind of a big fun show next week. So that'll be something to look forward to. The doomsday clock has moved forward by 1 second, and people making a big deal about that, but it actually moved forward by more than 10 seconds under the last president. So it's just kind of symbolic. I mean, it's pretty bad. When I was a kid, they made a big deal about the doomsday clock. It was always big news, how close the world is to nuclear apocalypse. I'm not sure how realistic it is, but of course, with stuff going, I mean, the world is getting crazier at the moment. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that. Edo, you think it's similar with aging celebrities as well around the world? I think you're right. I think, Hollywood celebrities nowadays, it's just the same. Like, movie studios don't want to take a risk on a new 18-year-old called Tom Cruise in a movie. They would rather have, how old is he? 70 years old? I mean, he still looks like he's 20. But, they'd still rather have a 70-year-old Tom Cruise doing stunts and still being incredible rather than risk a new person on a big movie. It's kind of sad, But yeah. Aaron always loves Victor's rants and me reining him back into the topics. But there again, I also like letting Victor just go on the topics. And I like to lob, feeders to him to let him go crazy sometimes as well. That is the joy of 2.5 Oyajis, and that will be back soon. Some news that triggered my butter fixation. Apparently, the Agriculture Ministry is going to require farmer action if key food supplies, including dairy and rice and so on, drops below 20%. They are going to send a sternly worded letter to farmers saying, please make the cows produce more. The solution here should be allowing imports, which Japan refused to do when we had queues for butter in Japan in the modern age, just like the Soviet Union in the 1980s, which was ridiculous. So still the wrong kind of thing. DeepSeek. Did I talk about DeepSeek last week? DeepSeek continues to be interesting. I feel like I've talked about DeepSeek with so many people. I have a role in my job. DeepSeek is kind of close to home in terms of what I do for a living. And in principle, I don't talk about things that I do for a living. But I'm in kind of an interesting position at work that I've had at work multiple people come to me asking for my briefing for them of DeepSeek. And I get the feeling I might have talked about this last week. But are you interested in my take on DeepSeek? And I guess I can give you a version of it which isn't too streamed into my day-to-day. So would you like my take on DeepSeek? Aaron, can I stream it on both channels at the same time? I think we probably can. I think with StreamYard, I think I can multi-stream to channels that I own. I don't know about multi-streaming to channels owned by different people. But yeah, I can multi-stream, for example, to Tokyo Digital Crew and Equal Simon at the same time if I wanted to. Pardon me. By the way, for dinner I had minestrone soup, and I always take my son out for dinner on Sunday nights. I take him for Italian. So tonight I had minestrone soup and way too much garlic bread. So not only is the burp kind of unpleasant because I'm worried about something coming up, it's also all garlic bread at the moment. So there's some things through the internet that you don't want to ever find out about. Lara's interested. Okay, so I think there's tons of videos which I have been watching which explain what DeepSeek is and why it's significant and why it's not really necessarily like the end of the world like the stock market sort of reacted. My quick take on it when people ask me to explain what the hell is going on with DeepSeek. First of all, I was doing this explanation the other day, and DeepSeek is not an AI company. It is a quant firm. It is a firm of extreme mathematicians who use mathematical algorithms and the same GPUs that are used for AI to predict algorithmically where to invest and to make money. And they've made quite a lot of money. They've been quite successful as an investment firm, both using tons of NVIDIA GPUs for predicting trades and making trades, as well as burning crypto. And they had some spare GPUs and a bunch of Chinese guys who are good at maths, but who are not taken seriously. Like, they're not considered in China to be an AI company. when I heard the expression that they are a quant firm, I've only ever heard quant being used in one context, and it is from one of my favorite movies in the world that I still find myself rewatching and enjoying about once every 6 months. The Big Short. I think I've mentioned it on here before. The Big Short is, to me, one of the most brilliant movies ever made. It's brilliant because it takes a really hard and boring topic, literally the 2008 Lehman, meltdown, and how basically deliberately, obtusely made financial instruments containing housing loans led to the collapse of the American economy. Certainly the real estate sector in America, which had profound implications. All the way even over here in Japan in 2008. People will remember 2009, was it? The Lehman shock. It affected me directly. I was going to start looking for a job, and I knew someone who started looking for a job then, and there were no jobs. So I decided to sit where I was. So yeah, interesting times. There's a scene in The Big Short where now what was the firm? Was it Morgan Stanley or some? A trader at Morgan Stanley sort of got whiff of some people predicting that in fact there was a solo investor or someone from a very small firm who asked to short sell the housing market, to bet against the success of the housing market, and convinced one of the big banks, which was making money off all these mortgage loans, to create a financial product that would bet against the housing market. And so once they had created it, they wanted to sell it to other people. So there's a scene of them of this sort of slick, big Wall Street sort of banker pitching, selling against the real estate market to a group of, to a small investment firm. And at one point when they ask, how can this be true? How can the real estate market be about to collapse? Have you checked the math on this? And the guy sort of turns around. He says, am I sure? Am I sure? Look at him. And they go, what's he? They zoom in on this Chinese person. He's like, that's my quant. He won a math competition in China. He doesn't even speak English. Yeah, I'm sure of the math. And then the quant turns around to the camera and corrects the story and says, actually, I speak fluent English, but he thinks it sounds more authentic if I pretend not to speak English. And I only came second in the national math competition in China. The whole movie is so funny, and it explains these really obtuse concepts so well. I think it's one of the funniest, most intelligent movies I've ever seen, and I love rewatching it. The scene with the quant is just like so memorable. So when they say that this is a firm of Chinese quants, I'm already like, oh, okay, you have my attention. But yeah, basically, Dan H pointing out, it's not shocking as China's been leading with AI patents pretty much since the first Trump term. Yeah, they're smart. Well, this is the thing. This whole idea from America, where they're almost nakedly open that it's not about security. Like there are security aspects of things to be concerned about. There are specific companies that have been mentioned as being affiliated with the PLA, whose components and equipment, Hikvision, ZTE. There's a few specific companies that have been named as presenting a national security risk. But when it comes to AI, everyone's just saying, oh, it'll be a disaster if China wins the race. We have to hold them back. They're not even pretending it's anything else. So all of the, the chip embargoes and the AI restrictions and, so many models, like do not allow you to use that model in China or whatever, and are banned over there. And there are Chinese models by big Chinese AI companies that are banned in America as well. So, the sort of disaster that this company very cheaply reproduced, OpenAI's O1 model. And what is the O1 model? O1 is a reasoning model. It's a new type of model. So typically you go to ChatGPT, you say, write me a poem about being a dog, and it instantly responds with a poem about a dog. If you ask the same thing to a reasoning model, what it will do is it has a corpus of data probably similar to what a regular OpenAI has, but within that it has all these assembled experts, a math expert. It's got basically Leonardo da Vinci. It's got, the world's sort of best mathematicians and artists. And basically they have a debate in front of you, and they go through and sort of have a discussion and try to, go through multiple steps to come to the very best outcome, which isn't always any better than the standard OpenAI. But for a lot of things which require some thought, like, for example, math problems, multi-step reasoning has produced, and for coding, it's produced much better quality outputs, which is sort of seen as revolutionizing AI. And OpenAI is already touting that they're putting out their second version of these reasoning models, O3, any day now. But O1, when it came out, it was like a quantum leap. It was a new style of AI that was so far ahead of anybody else, and and it was proprietary to OpenAI. However, this Chinese firm basically replicated. Well, not only did they replicate a reasoning model, which is kind of funny because it's very clear that they built it with synthetic data that was generated from using ChatGPT. So if you even ask DeepSeek, "Who are you?" it will respond, "I'm ChatGPT." But they also figured out since they can't use the most high-powered GPUs, which have been banned from export to China in order to hold them back, these people just used their brains and innovated around the problem. One, they figured out some really clever ways to train up the AI in ways that just using lower power GPUs that just ended up saving a model which cost hundreds of millions of dollars for OpenAI to train. They trained a model as powerful for, they say $5 million. And I've seen analyses that say $2.6 million. And on top of that, it's almost free to run. You actually have to pay, I believe, OpenAI at least $20 a month. I'm on the $20 a month tier for OpenAI to use this service, but they offer this for free because it's so cheap to run for inference. Because the way that their model works is rather than having all the experts gathering around your problem at the same time, they huddle once and then they decide who's the best expert. Oh, it's doing that thing again. Who's the best expert? And then once it decides who the best expert is, it turns all the other experts off. So it goes faster and it doesn't waste any time or electricity. So it runs heaps cheaper. And the entire model, open source. Just like Meta's Llama, for example. So anybody can actually take this. And right now, people are saying, "Oh, don't use DeepSeek because it's being run off Chinese servers, and it won't tell you what Tiananmen Square is or anything like that." And that's true. That is because right now the public version is being hosted on a Chinese cloud company. But anyone can actually copy the model or even just recreate it themselves. And actually, I saw news a few days ago that in Berkeley, some people figured out how to create a version of this for $30 based on the paper which was released from this company, which doesn't even care that much about AI, explaining exactly how they made it transparently. So the idea that there might be hidden security flaws or anything like that, you can take the model and you can modify it and build off it and recreate it, run it with your own data, run it on your own local computer if it's a powerful gaming computer, or run it off your own cloud that you want to. And they're completely transparent with how the thing works, unlike OpenAI and these others. So anyone in America can copy and iterate on top of it. The stock market's collapsed because all these companies are spending $500 billion, $100 billion on building data centers with powerful GPUs to achieve a level that this company replicated for $2 million, which implies that all these companies are wasting all their investment and it's been rendered worthless. That's not true. That investment can now be used instead of where it could only do like this much of AI training before. Those GPUs can just now do, hundreds of times more training and accelerate development further. So as someone who's kind of an accelerationist, as someone who just wants to see this technology get as good as it can get, as fast as it can get, this is great news. This is like another quantum leap. And honestly, I think it's just kind of cool that people who are outsiders, even within China, who literally a bunch of quants, a bunch of mathematicians as a side project inside a trading company that burns crypto, figured out something that the biggest AI labs in the world didn't do. It shows that, one, there's still tons of room for innovation around this. It really just requires, it requires math skill, the ability to develop algorithms and just to understand how these things work. But theoretically, if you've got a brain and you can do math well, if you have a good, solid math and science education system, anyone in the world could make similar sort of breakthroughs like this. Which sounds like bad news for America. Instead of like banning chips going to, China, perhaps America should be improving its math and science education, which is pretty low, as I understand, in the OECD right now. And it's also, if you ask me, it's a great sign of how this technology can really be democratized, how you could have kids in India and Africa, African countries and so on. If you can, we're all the same genetically, so if you give them the same access to, advanced math education. And for example, even in Tokyo, the Indian schools, Japanese send their kids to the Indian schools because they have more advanced level math. Also, a lot of the Indians who live in Tokyo work as IT engineers. They're already people with strong math backgrounds. But it is, to me, this is great news. This is great news even for America. The fact that everyone's freaked out about it and the stock market collapse is completely the wrong interpretation of this. To me, it kind of shows the futility of kind of trying to restrict innovation for something that still primarily just relies on the inside of the human brain. And the fact that this Chinese company not only did it, but they did it open source and they disclosed everything, rendering. This is the thing. I mean, Meta, has been doing the same approach of open sourcing everything. But if this had been Google or OpenAI, this would all be locked up IP. This would all be, inaccessible to other people. Everyone would have to be trying to figure it out. So I think it's actually cool. I mean, it is to me, on the one hand, hey, maybe China will get to super intelligent AI and take over the world first, and wouldn't that be terrible? But on the other hand, it's just really cool what it shows that people are capable of. And the way that, again, when America just tried all these sort of, frankly, kind of bullying tactics, may be justified, but at the same time, the fact that these people just got around it with brains and innovation, I think is cool. And, there's no avoiding China. Holy crap. This beautiful keyboard, handmade in China to my specifications. My phone, my camera behind me, Insta 360 that I like to use. China has lots of really great people that are really good at making things, and frankly, better than I think anyone in America can make these things nowadays. And this idea of suddenly turning them into some sort of an enemy in a kind of imaginary competition, this just sort of shows how kind of stupid that is. So I think the DeepSeek story is very, very cool. And actually, it's not a loss at all. This is a plus for everybody. So yeah, and that's right. I was just tweeting the other day about US sanctions on Chinese AI backfiring. And this escalated very fast, of course. So yeah. Anyway, it is, I think that the DeepSeek story is very cool. I said I was just planning to come on for 10 minutes. I'm actually feeling okay, but at the same time, I am going to go and drink some water and go to sleep. I've not been feeling well all day today. I am pretty tired. I am probably going to watch some crappy reality TV. I am sorry, City. Great to see you, by the way. And very true what you're saying there. And again, I just love this. It's so cool. What's happening here? Eric Bailey pointing out another classic scene of Margot Robbie explaining, in fact, yes, again, she was explaining, and Anthony Bourdain, everyone taking turns explaining different extremely complex financial instruments. But of course, Margot Robbie in a bubble bath explaining financial instruments. And the movie is so funny. And it's funny without being like laugh out loud. It's actually tragic and depressing. In the second half, it gets really heavy. Oh, it just hits every note. It is one of the best movies ever made in my mind. And I'll leave you on a recommendation. If you want to forget about AI and watch something better for your brain than the crap that I've been watching on Netflix, Below Deck, which is great, actually. I recommend watching The Big Short if you can find it. It's a great movie. Apologies again. I won't be doing an after party tonight. I am going to go and lie down and sleep and hopefully be in shape for work tomorrow. But it's great to see you. I love all you guys. It's what keeps me going each week. I love coming up and joining. I appreciate the understanding for tonight. Big thing to look forward. 2.5 Oyajis back this time next week. So something to look forward to with that. And have a great week, everybody. Remember, as always, you can follow me. Blue Sky is my main thing nowadays. So follow me on Blue Sky. Follow me on Instagram, all that stuff. Oh, yeah, that was a bad burp. It was not only garlic bread, but yeah, my stomach is saying, dude, take a break. So I'm going to go do that. Have a good week, everyone. And boom, peace. Have a good one. Not leave studio, in stream. Yeah, thank you very much, Aaron. I'll take your advice on the hot ginger. I'm going to do that. So I'll see you later. Boom. Okay, see you later.